Welcome back to our channel. Today, first up, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1950 wheat penny, specifically the one without the mint mark, and featuring a dark brown patina with spring green spots. It's a coin that many overlook but is actually a hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. So grab your magnifying glasses and let's jump into the details of why this coin is. The wheat penny, one of the most iconic U.S. coins ever produced, features two of the most well-known designs in American numismatic history: the obverse image of Abraham Lincoln and the reverse wheat stalks. This little 1-cent piece has seen decades of collecting, trading, and of course, significant appreciation. But today we'll focus on a specific version, the 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark, in fine condition with its characteristic dark brown patina and spring green spots. You might be holding a treasure. First, let's backtrack a bit. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For over 50 years, this iconic design was the go-to 1-cent coin in circulation. But in 1950 wheat penny, this coin went through its last few years before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1950 wheat penny, like all others in the series, features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse, showing two stalks of wheat, was designed by Frank Gasparo. These features are symbolic of America's agricultural roots, as wheat was a major part of the U.S. economy. Now here's where things get a bit more interesting. The 1950 wheat penny comes in different versions based on where it was minted. If you look closely, you'll notice some pennies have a mint mark beneath the date, indicating whether the coin was made in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, or San Francisco. The coin we're focusing on today is the 1950 penny with no mint mark. That's because it was minted in Philadelphia, the largest minting facility at the time. This version was produced in the highest quantities. However, the value of a 1950 penny can fluctuate greatly depending on its condition, patina, and other characteristics. This brings us to why the coin we're discussing today is so valuable. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Most 1950 wheat pennies that circulated for years in people's pockets ended up in poor condition. However, there are a select few that managed to retain a more pristine state or developed unique characteristics over time. This coin has developed a beautiful dark brown patina. Over the decades, the copper in the penny has oxidized and darkened, giving the coin a deep, rich brown color. For collectors, this dark brown layer is often seen as a sign of age and history. It tells a story, and the darker the tone, the more desirable it becomes, provided the patina doesn't go too far into corrosion territory. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This specific 1950 penny features unique spring green spots. This phenomenon occurs when the coin reacts with moisture and environmental conditions over the years, resulting in verdigris, a type of corrosion that can cause copper to develop a greenish hue. While verdigris is often seen as a negative trait on a coin, it can also be a sign of unique aging that some collectors actually find desirable. Spring green spots on a 1950 wheat penny add a certain charm and rarity to it, making it highly sought after, especially if the coin is still in fine condition. Let's talk numbers. What's this coin worth today? As mentioned earlier, the 1950 was not a particularly brilliant time in U.S. currency, but some hundreds of billions of dollars have been converted into the new coin, which we predict will be the most successful of all time. In today's market, the value of a restracted air when it comes to coins with special patinas, spring green spots, or minimal wear, the value can go up significantly. 1950 wheat pennies in outstanding condition, especially with unique features like these, can command prices closer to $150,000 or even more at auction. A 1950 penny with a similar patina and green spots sold for $175,000 at a recent auction due to its striking appearance and overall quality. This is a prime example of how specialized market demand drives up the price of these coins. So why do collectors love the wheat penny so much? Well, the reasons are many. For one, the wheat penny is a piece of American history, spanning over 5 decades of production. Its design is simple yet timeless, and the story behind its creation is deeply tied to the country's growth. But more than that, the pursuit of rare or well-preserved wheat pennies especially from the years with fewer mintage or unique characteristics, like this 1950 example, has made the coin a favorite among collectors who appreciate both the artistry and rarity of these small pieces of history. Now you know why the 1950 wheat penny, particularly one without a mint mark, with its dark brown layer and those intriguing spring green spots, is a coin worth keeping an eye on. With collectors increasingly valuing unique characteristics, this humble 1-cent piece has certainly earned its place as a potential treasure. So if you come across one of these in your pocket change or you find one hidden in an old coin jar, don't just let it slip away, take a closer look. It might just be worth a lot more than you think. Next up, we're diving into the world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark. You might be wondering, what's the big deal about this coin? Well, stick around as we explore its history, condition, and why it's still commanding big value in today's collector market. Before we get into its value and the factors that make it so special today, let's take a closer look at the 1956 wheat penny itself. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was produced by the U.S. Mint from 1909 to 1958. The design featured 2 stalks of wheat on either side of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, giving it the name wheat penny. This design became a staple in everyday currency for almost half a century and remains a favorite among collectors to this day. Now, the 1956 wheat penny is part of the final years of this iconic design, which was eventually replaced in 1959 by the memorial cent. So, it marks the tail end of an era in American coinage. Now let's talk specifically about the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark. Mint marks, as many of you know, indicate where a coin was produced. The U.S. Mint had facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each one had its own unique mint mark. The 1956 wheat penny with the mint mark was produced in Denver, and the S mint mark indicated production in San Francisco. But a penny without a mint mark? That means it was struck in Philadelphia, which was the main minting facility during this time. It's important to note that the absence of a mint mark doesn't actually add to the historical charm and the connection it has to the Philadelphia Mint. Let's talk about the condition of this coin. If you have a 1956 wheat penny in fine condition, you're in luck. In numismatics, the grade of a coin is incredibly important when determining its value. Coins are graded based on their level of wear and the overall preservation of their details. In the case of the 1956 wheat penny, a fine grade means that the coin shows moderate wear, but the design is still visible and the details remain legible. A coin in fine condition will have sharp but not necessarily flawless features. The wheat stalks will still have some definition, and Lincoln's portrait will remain discernible, though the finer details might be worn down. This coin might have been used in circulation for several years, but it still holds significant appeal to collectors. So, what makes the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark so valuable today? Well, it all comes down to several factors: rarity, demand, and condition. While the 1956 wheat penny was produced in large quantities, over 1 billion were minted, the fact that it's part of the end of the wheat series gives it historical value. Plus, when you find one in fine condition, collectors get excited. Let's break down what you can expect in terms of value. In 1956, wheat penny without a mint mark in wheat penny is in an excellent state with minimal wear. You could see values climbing as high as $150,000 or more. Coins in higher grades, such as very fine or uncirculated, can command even more significant prices. Some well-preserved 1956 wheat pennies have been known to sell for $167,000 or more at auction, depending on their quality and rarity. If you're searching for a 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark and want to know how to spot one with the best value, here are a few tips for you. First, always check for clear details in the wheat stalks and Lincoln's portrait. The sharper the features, the better. Also, avoid coins with major damage or corrosion, as these can drastically reduce their value. Second, consider buying from reputable dealers or auctions, as they often carry graded coins. Certified coins, especially from trusted grading services, can provide more confidence in your investment. The collector's market for wheat pennies, including the 1956 variety, has been fairly strong over the years. As we've mentioned, the demand is still there due to the historical significance of the series, and the availability of these coins in fine condition has become a bit more scarce as time goes on. Many collectors focus on assembling complete sets of wheat pennies, and the 1956 coin, with its iconic design and connection to the Lincoln Cent series, is often an important piece in those collections. So if you have a 1956 wheat penny in good condition, you're holding on to something that's part of a larger numismatic tradition. To ensure your 1956 wheat penny retains its value, proper storage and care are key. Make sure you store your coin in a protective holder such as a coin flip, plastic capsule, or a safe, acid-free storage album. Avoid cleaning the coin as this can damage its surface and significantly decrease its value. To wrap things up, the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin with both historical and collector value connection to the end of an era, and its demand among collectors means it's certainly worth keeping an eye on. Do you own a 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark? Or perhaps you've spotted one while browsing through your spare change? Next up, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1942 wheat penny, one of the most sought-after coins for collectors. No mint mark, brown wave obverse, Lincoln front design, fine condition. This coin has a story worth telling. Stay tuned. We've been holding on to a hidden gem. The 1942 wheat penny belongs to the iconic series of Lincoln cents that debuted in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. These coins were the first U.S. pennies to feature a president's face, a design by Victor David Brenner that would become a staple of American currency. But what makes the 1942 penny without a mint mark so special? It's not just the design, it's the context. This coin was minted during World War II, a time when copper was becoming increasingly valuable for wartime efforts. Though the penny was still made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, by 1943, steel pennies were introduced as a substitute. The 1942 penny represents the end of an era for copper coins, before wartime changes reshaped U.S. currency. If your 1942 wheat penny has no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia, the largest minting facility in the United States. Philadelphia coins from this period didn't include a mint mark, which is why you won't see one under the date. Collectors are particularly drawn to Philadelphia pennies because of their historical significance and higher mintage numbers. But remember, condition is key. In the coin collecting world, grading determines a coin's value. A 1942 penny in fine condition means moderate wear is visible, but the major details, like Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks on the reverse, are still sharp. The lines of Lincoln's hair might be soft and some of the wheat stalk details might be worn, but overall the coin retains its charm. While higher grades, like extremely fine or uncirculated, fetch the highest prices. Even a penny in fine condition, especially if it has a brown patina or unique wave texture caused by years of natural oxidation. Now, the question everyone wants answered. How much is a 1942 wheat penny worth in today's collector market? Well, in fine condition, these pennies are generally valued between $240,000. If your penny has an unusual minting error, like a double die or off-center strike, a recent auction saw a rare 1942 penny with a prominent minting flaw fetch over $250,000. So, how do you know if your 1942 penny is special? Start by looking for these key features. A rich, even brown tone. Collectors love the natural patina that develops over time. Sharp details, especially on Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks. Any signs of minting errors like doubled lettering or unusual marks. And don't forget to store your coin properly. A coin in fine condition can easily degrade if it's exposed to moisture or mishandled. Use protective coin holders to keep it safe. Collectors adore the 1942 wheat penny because it's a piece of history. Its connection to World War II, its classic design, and its potential for hidden value make it a must-have for enthusiasts. Do you have a 1942 wheat penny sitting in your change jar? Next up, we're diving deep into a coin that has been catching the attention of collectors everywhere. The 1957 with D wheat penny, also known as the Black Dots coin in fine condition. Could it be worth big money? Let's find out. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1957 with D wheat penny was minted in Denver and is part of the iconic wheat cents series, which ran from 1979 to 1958. These coins feature Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat ears on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and growth. But what makes this coin special? Collectors have been noticing black dots on the obverse right on Lincoln's portrait. Are these damage? Are they minting errors? Or could they be something else entirely? Stick around because we're going to explore all the possibilities and how this impacts the value of your coin. Let's start with the history. The 1957 with D penny was struck in the Denver Mint, where over 1.5 billion were produced. Most 1957 with D pennies are uncommon and expensive. Unique features or rare conditions can make some examples worth significantly. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. 1957 with D. If you've got one in fine or uncirculated condition or with unique features, it could fetch much more on the collector market. So what about these black dots? First, it's important to note that not all black dots are created equal. Some could simply be dirt or environmental damage from years of circulation, but in other cases they might actually be part of the minting process. For instance, black spots caused by carbon staining or improperly cleaned planchettes are considered mint flaws. These flaws happen when impurities on the coin blank react with the metal during or after minting, leaving behind dark spots. While not always considered desirable, these unique flaws can make a coin stand out, and for certain collectors, that can mean added value. Now let's talk grading, because the condition of your coin can drastically affect its value. Professional coin grading services use a 70-point scale, with higher grades fetching higher prices. In fine condition, if it has rare features like black dots or unusual mint errors, the price could jump even higher. In fact, some 1957 with D pennies with unique characteristics have sold at auction for $280,000. That's right, a penny, potentially worth $300,000 or more, depending on demand and rarity. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I know if my 1957 with D penny is valuable? Here's a quick checklist to get started. Number 1, has the penny returned at least 42% followed the last 27 years? Number 2, examine the black dots. Are they uniform? Do they seem to be part of the coin's surface rather than damage? Look for double die obverse, repunched mint marks, or any other minting errors. Assess the condition. Is it in fine condition or better? Look for minimal wear and strong details. If you believe your coin has potential, consider sending it to a professional grading service. Grading not only verifies the authenticity of your coin, but can also significantly increase its market value. So, what's the collector market like today for 1957 with D wheat pennies? As for coins with black dots, they've been trending as niche collectibles, especially if the dots are consistent and well placed. Remember, demand fluctuates with trends, so now might be the perfect time to cash in if you've got a unique or high-grade example. So could your 1957 with D wheat penny with black dots be worth big money? The right combination of condition, mint errors, and unique features could make yours a valuable collector's item. Next up, we're diving deep into the 1944 wheat penny without a mint mark, a coin that's been stirring up quite the buzz in the collector's market. Is it just a penny? Or is it a hidden treasure worth big bucks? Let's find out. First, let's get a good look at this coin. The 1944 wheat penny, also called the Lincoln cent, was part of a historical era in U.S. coin production. You can spot its distinct wheat stalks on the reverse side and the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. But what makes this specific penny one without a mint mark and with a dark brown tint such a sought-after piece? To understand its value, we need to go back to the year 1944. The world was in the middle of World War II, and copper was a critical material for the war effort. As a result, the U.S. Mint had to make adjustments in coin production. In 1943, they experimented with steel pennies to save copper, but by 1944, copper was back, and it was recycled from spent shell casings used in the war. This gives the 1944 penny a unique historical significance, as it represents a time when even our money was tied to the war effort. So, where does the mint mark, or lack of it, come into play? Well, in 1944, the Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of these pennies. Unlike the Denver and San Francisco mints, which marked their coins with D or an S, Philadelphia didn't add a mint mark to its pennies. This means if your 1944 wheat penny has no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Now let's talk about condition. If you've got a 1944 wheat penny with a dark brown tint known as a fine or circulated condition, it's likely seen a lot of hands over the decades. This dark brown patina is a natural oxidation effect on the copper and adds to the coin's character. But does that make it valuable? Well, it depends. Coin collectors assign grades to pennies based on their condition. For a 1944 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition, meaning it shows moderate wear but the design details are still clear, the value starts around $235,000. Even without errors, pennies in higher grades, like uncirculated or proof-like condition, can sell for $245,000 or more depending on the market. In today's collector market, a lot depends on where and how you sell your coin. Online auction sites, coin shops, and collector groups are all great places to start. A 1944 wheat penny in fine condition, with no mint, it's still a piece of history, and history always has a value. So what should you do if you think you have a 1944 wheat penny worth big money? Here are my top tips. Use a magnifying glass or microscope to spot any oddities like doubling or off-center strikes. Get it graded. For potentially valuable coins, a professional grading service can confirm its condition and value. Do your research. Compare recent auction sales to see what similar coins are going for. The 1944 wheat penny. It's a story, a reminder of a time when every resource, even the humble penny, played a role in shaping history. It's a treasure in its own right. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked coin, the 1957 penny coin with a ring attached, with a penny still in the penny. It's small, it's iconic, and in some cases collectors love this coin and how much yours could be worth. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the adverse side features Lincoln's profile while the reverse shows two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and unity. The design remained in circulation until 1958, making the 1957 with D one of the last years of this beloved series. But what makes the 1957 with D special? Let's talk about that D mint mark. It indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 1.5 billion wheat pennies that year. Yes, that's billion with a B. But even with such a high mintage, not all coins are created equal, and some are much rarer and more valuable than others. Like all coins, the value of a 1957 with D wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. In the world of coin collecting, we use a grading system to assess a coin's state. For example, a coin in fine condition, like this one here, shows noticeable wear but still retains most of its design details. On the other hand, coins graded as mint, state those that look almost as pristine as the day they were struck, can command significantly higher prices. If your 1957 with D wheat penny has a grayish or dull tone on the obverse like this one, it might initially seem unremarkable, but don't let that fool you. These coins can still hold value depending on demand and rarity. Now, let's get to the big question. How much is a 1957 with D wheat penny worth in today's collector market? Obverse gray shade fine condition like this one, you're looking at values between $297,000 or more. Another variety to watch for is the repunched mint mark, where the D appears to have been stamped more than once. Coins with this error can sell for upwards of $300,000 or more, so grab that magnifying glass and start inspecting. If you're looking to sell your 1957 with D wheat penny, you have several options. Online platforms are popular, but make sure to check recent sales to set a competitive price. For higher value coins, consider professional auction houses or local coin shops. And if you're building a collection, the 1957 with D is an affordable and iconic piece to add. It's a great example of mid-century minting and a perfect conversation starter for your collection. Did you know that the wheat penny is one of the most collected coins in the world? Its timeless design, historical significance, and connection to Lincoln make it a favorite for collectors of all ages. So, whether you're just starting your collection or looking to uncover hidden treasures, the 1957 with D wheat penny is a coin worth knowing about. Who knows, that gray-shaded penny in your drawer might just be a piece of history waiting to shine. Next up, we've got a real treat for you, the 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark. You might have one sitting in your collection, or maybe you've come across one in your pocket change. But did you know this little penny could have a significant value today? Before we dive into the 1934 wheat penny, let's talk a little about wheat pennies in general. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was minted by the U.S. Mint from 1909 to 1958. These coins feature the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, while the reverse side shows two stalks of wheat, giving the coin. Now, over the years, certain years and mint marks have become highly sought after by collectors. The 1934 wheat penny is one of those years that you definitely want to pay attention to if you're into coin collecting or just curious about its value. So let's break it down. In 1934, the US Mint produced millions of wheat pennies. But here's where things get interesting. If your 1934 penny doesn't have a mint mark, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and this can impact its value. At the time, the mint mark was an important identifier of where the coin was made. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, so when you find a 1934 penny without any mint mark, you know it came from there. Now let's talk about condition. When it comes to coins, the condition is everything. The 1934 wheat penny, like all coins, is graded on a scale from poor to mint state. A coin in fine condition will show wear, but the details of the design will still be visible. The brown dots, you may notice, are simply a result of age, oxidation, or perhaps even handling over the years. If your 1934 penny is in fine condition, you'll notice some wear on the wheat stalks, Lincoln's portrait, and the date itself. However, the major features should still be distinguishable, and that's key when evaluating its value. So, what makes the 1934 wheat penny valuable? Several factors come into play when determining the value of a coin, especially one like this. Even though the 1934 penny was minted in large numbers, it's still relatively rare to find one in excellent condition. Coins that have survived the decades without significant damage or corrosion tend to command higher prices. As we discussed, the finer the condition, the more it's worth. A 1934 penny in fine condition, especially with those brown dots or signs of age. Collectors are constantly looking for coins from the early 20th century, especially if they're in good condition. The demand for rare coins like the 1934 wheat penny has been steadily increasing as more people enter the world of numismatics. Okay, so how much is your 1934 wheat penny actually worth today? Well, let's break it down. In brown dots fine condition, the 1934 wheat penny can be worth anywhere from $346,000 or more. Now, if you happen to have a mint state 1934 penny, meaning it has almost no wear and retains its original luster, you could be looking at values around $350,000 or even more, depending on auction prices. High-grade coins are much harder to find, and that's what makes them incredibly valuable to collectors. Before you rush off to sell or buy a 1934 wheat penny, it's important to know how to properly identify and grade your coin. Grading can get a little tricky, so let's quickly go over some key tips. First, look at the wheat stalks on the reverse side. Are they clearly visible? The more details you can see, the higher the grade. Next, examine Lincoln's portrait. A worn or faded portrait lowers the grade, while a crisp, well-defined one increases it. Finally, check the date. If the year is easily readable, the coin is in better condition than one where the date is barely legible. So, you've got a 1934 wheat penny in hand, and now you're wondering, should you keep it or sell it? If you decide to sell, there are a few things to consider. One option is to sell through a reputable online marketplace. There are many platforms where collectors and dealers are actively buying coins, but always be sure to have your coin authenticated and graded by a trusted professional. That way, you can get the best price. Alternatively, you can take it to a local coin dealer who can offer you an evaluation and a fair price based on the current market trends. Just be aware that dealers may offer you a bit less than what you'd get through an auction or online marketplace. The 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark can be a surprisingly valuable coin depending on its condition and rarity. If you've got one in fine or better condition, it's definitely worth holding on to and considering for your collection. Next up, we're talking about a hidden gem in the numismatic community, the 1936 wheat penny without a mint mark. If you've ever wondered why this little copper coin featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile can be worth big bucks today, you're in the right place. Let's uncover the history, rarity, and current collector market value of this intriguing coin. The 1936 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features Lincoln's iconic profile, while the reverse showcases the two wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This design was used from 1909 until 1958. One key feature of the 1936 wheat penny is the absence of a mint mark below the date. This indicates that the coin was minted in Philadelphia, which was the U.S. Mint's main production facility at the time. Unlike Denver or San Francisco, the Philadelphia Mint did not add mint marks to coins during this period. While the 1936 wheat penny was produced in large quantities, certain factors make it a standout piece for collectors today. Now you might be asking, what makes the 1936 wheat penny so special if millions were made? The answer lies in its condition, historical context, and a fascinating error associated with some coins from this year. First, 1936 was a year of transition for coin production. The U.S. Mint experimented with different die-making techniques, leading to variations like the famous double die obverse, a rare error where the date and lettering appear doubled. While we're focusing on the regular 1936 penny without errors, even standard coins in excellent condition can fetch impressive prices. Additionally, collectors are drawn to coins in high grades, such as fine, extra fine, and mint state. If your 1936 penny shows minimal wear, crisp details, and original luster, it could be highly valuable. Another intriguing feature collectors look for is the presence of small cuts or die cracks on the coin's edge. These minor imperfections occur during the minting process and can make a coin unique. If your 1936 wheat penny has a small cut on the front edge, it could pique the interest of collectors who specialize in error coins. Always inspect your coin carefully with a magnifying glass or a loupe to spot these details. Now, let's talk about the part everyone is curious about. How much is the 1936 wheat penny worth today? In fine condition, which shows moderate wear but retains clear details, the coin can range in value from $350,000. However, higher grades like extra fine or uncirculated can significantly increase the value. In mint state, the coin can fetch anywhere from $360,000, depending on its color and luster. Larry, you hoping to cash in on your 1936 wheat penny or add one to your collection? Here are some quick tips. Inspect the coin's condition. Look for wear on Lincoln's hair and cheek as well as the wheat stalks on the reverse. Check for errors. Use a magnifying tool to identify any doubling, die cracks, or other anomalies. If you believe your coin is in exceptional condition, consider having it graded by a professional service store it properly. Protect your coin in a holder or case to prevent further wear and tear. Remember, even a single coin can hold historical and monetary value if preserved well. The 1936 wheat penny without a mint mark might seem like just another old coin, but its unique features, history, and condition can make it a prized possession for collectors. Whether you're looking to sell or simply cherish a piece of American history, this penny is a true treasure. Next up, we're talking about a coin that has been captivating collectors and investors alike, the 1941 wheat penny with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1941 with D wheat penny. This humble 1-cent coin has been making waves in the collector market, and its value might just surprise you. Before we explore the market value of this coin, let's take a step back in time. The 1941 wheat penny was minted at a pivotal moment in history. America was recovering from the Great Depression, and the shadow of World War II loomed large. Over 128 million wheat pennies were struck at the Denver Mint that year. These pennies were a symbol of resilience and a daily reminder of hope in uncertain times. The 1941 with D wheat penny is a standout among Lincoln cents for several reasons. Let's break it down. The obverse features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Pay close attention to the D Mint mark located just below the date on the coin. This indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, you'll see two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design gave the coin its nickname. Many collectors are particularly drawn to unique features such as natural patinas or toning. Coins with a green wave effect, a distinctive greenish hue caused by oxidation, add an extra layer of charm and rarity. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is king. Grading plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. The 1941 with D wheat penny in fine condition typically shows moderate wear with all major details visible. However, higher grades like extremely fine or mint state can fetch significantly higher prices. If your 1941D wheat penny has a unique green wave toning, its desirability among collectors skyrockets. This natural toning makes the coin stand out and adds to its historical and aesthetic value. Now let's talk dollars and cents, literally. The value of the 1941 wheat penny can vary widely depending on its condition and rarity. If your coin has the elusive green wave patina, collectors might be willing to pay a premium, its value by $400,000 or more. Collectors love unique coins that stand out, and this combination of age, rarity, and visual appeal makes the 1941 with D wheat penny a sought-after gem. Are you looking to buy or sell a 1941 with D wheat penny? Here are some quick tips to ensure you get the best value. Look for signs of tampering or alterations. Consider having your coin certified by a reputable grading service. Error coins, such as double dies or off-center strikes, can significantly increase value. Always inspect your coin closely. Store your coin in a protective holder to prevent further wear or environmental damage. Keep an eye on auction sites, coin shows, and collector forums to understand the current demand for the 1941 with D wheat penny. So why do collectors love wheat pennies so much? It's not just about their monetary value. These coins are tangible pieces of history. Each one tells a story of a different time, a different era. The 1941 with D wheat penny is especially treasured because it bridges the gap between the hardships of the Great Depression and the challenges of World War II. Do you have a 1941 with D wheat penny hiding in your collection? Or perhaps you're inspired to start hunting for one? Next up, we're diving into an exciting topic that's been buzzing in the coin collecting community: the 1941 wheat penny without a mint mark. What makes this coin so special? Why are collectors paying top dollar for one in fine condition? And what's the story behind that intriguing gray tint that some of these coins have? Let's start with a bit of history. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was first minted in 1917 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural strength. In 1941, the United States was gearing up for World War II. Resources were being diverted for the war effort, but the mint still managed to produce over 887 million wheat pennies that year. However, not all of them were created equal, and that's where things get interesting. If you take a close look at a 1941 wheat penny and don't see a small letter under the year, congratulations, you've got a coin minted in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks on their coins until 1942. This means that your coin is a no-mint mark 1941 penny, by default own condition, and certain unique features can set it apart in the collector's market. Now let's talk about that mysterious gray tint. Why do some 1941 wheat pennies have this unique coloration? Well, it often comes down to environmental exposure. Over the years, coins can oxidize, especially if they've been exposed to moisture or buried in the ground. This can result in a grayish or even silvery tone, which many collectors find visually appealing. As for condition, the term fine condition refers to a coin that shows some wear but retains clear details, especially on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. For a 1941 wheat penny, this can significantly influence its value. But what exactly is that value today? Let's find out. Alright, here's what you've been waiting for. In today, the collector's market for wheat pennies is thriving. A 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny in fine condition can fetch anywhere from $135,000 if you have a large collection or a higher grade coin. The value can increase dramatically. So, how can you make the most of your 1941 wheat penny? Here are a few tips. Use a magnifying glass to check for key details like wear, toning, and any potential errors. Get it graded. If you think your coin is special, consider sending it to a professional grading service. Check recent sales on platforms or heritage auctions to get an idea of what similar coins are selling for. Store it properly. Protect your coin from further damage by using a coin holder or airtight case. So there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny, its historical significance, and its potential value in today's market. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more coin collecting tips and insights. And let us know in the comments what's the most valuable coin in your collection. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.